Hi friends, it's Anne here. My voice sounds a little up and down. It's because I'm not feeling well. If you look at my community tab, you'll see what's going on. My voice is good most of the time, but every once in a while if I cough, it throws everything off. So anyway, we're going to try and make this video really short and sweet. I am still wearing makeup, although I did not wear makeup for a few days this past week because I barely moved for a couple of days. But yeah, I wanted to keep some progress on this. Like, I physically don't really want to film this because I just feel like crap, but at the same time I want to film this because I want to keep the momentum going on this, and I want to let you guys know that, I'm still here. Even though if I'm in rough shape, I am still here. And I do want to say a big thank you to everybody and your support. It's been a bit of a roller coaster these past couple weeks. I also have some other, I actually have some good news. I know it sounds like I feel like I'm giving doom and gloom all the time, but I do have some good news to share. But I want to do that in a future video where I can, sit down and actually talk to you guys about it. Somebody's coughing in the hallway. Please be quiet, sir. Thank you. Okay, so this is last week's picks. What do I want to talk about? This powder, I feel like I didn't get really good use out of it. I don't really have an opinion if I really like it or not. It's the Laura Mercier powder. I know I liked it in the past. I feel like this packaging, I had a hard time getting the powder out, but now it seems to be coming out. So the powder will come back in a future, testing. I didn't feel as wowed as I thought I might have, but like I said, I had a hard time getting the powder out, so I feel like I wasn't getting a good sampling of it, if that makes sense. Funny thing about this mascara, this Wet n Wild mascara, I showed my last video that the wand was very, goopy. It looked like it was very thick and goopy, but it doesn't apply to the eyelashes that way. It almost it doesn't really apply very much to the eyelashes. I really have to build it and build it and build it, and I can't build it the way I want to build it or the way I think I should build it. I'm going to keep this mascara because I have a feeling this one will get better the more it dries out. I think when it's going to hit a sweet spot of 1 month where it's going to be really good. It'll be dry enough that it really builds, and at the end of that month it'll get too flaky and then I'll have to get rid of it. So there's that. This was a fine concealer. It's not enough for me right now. My under eyes are dangerous. Really like these eyeliners. I want to play with this more. I'm going to put it away for now, but I'm looking forward to playing with this more. I'm just not very comfortable using pen eyebrow things. The color of this is nice. I said in my last video that I thought it might be too warm. It's not too warm. It's definitely really dark. So I have to be careful with it. I feel like I can't use it throughout my whole brow. I feel like near the front of my brow it's a little rough. And I need to figure out how to use this in a way that I can draw my brows on that look natural. I'm just not used to using a pen for a brow product, but I do like the way it looked if I take my time. That's part of the problem with this, is I need time to use it because I'm not experienced with it, and these days I just don't have the time or the energy to use it. So that's all that I wanted to talk about with this. Nothing else really had any sort of impact or anything that I really want to mention. So that is last week's picks. Let's get into this week's picks. Okay, we're going to go bottom up today, and we're going to start with the bronzer, blush, and highlight drawer. I already thought about this one because I don't want to set up the camera. This was in focus at the beginning. So I'm going to pull out this bronzer. This is the Too Faced Natural Luster bronzer. I did have this in a project last year, so I got some good use out of it. The design is starting to wear away, which makes me kind of sad, but at the same time, I want to use my makeup, not just keep it around to look pretty. So yeah, there's that. And this one's a bronzer that's got sort of the two shades in it, so I can choose to kind of go lighter with it or a little darker with it. So there's that bronzer. Highlight. I was thinking about this highlight, so I kind of want to play with this guy. Very bright and very reflective. There, it's a laser C. It's the Laura Geller Baked Gelato Swirl in Diamond Dust. It looks pretty white, but it's one of those ones that's it's more pink than white. So actually it looks really white there on camera. Maybe it's just super reflective. Yeah, there you can see it's pretty pink. It's not actually white. And then, yeah, you can see it on my hand. It's just white, pink. Like, it's a very metallic-y kind of pink. Not really white. So I think it's going to be more of like a blush topper instead of just like a highlight. I have my highlight for my Project Pan, which is very blindy, icy almost. It's the Flexitarian highlighter from ColourPop, so I can definitely combine the two. And for blush, let's go with this guy. This is a nice spring blush. We're kind of getting into spring weather here. This is the Down Boy blush from the Balm. It's a very like cool toned blush. So I think you can see it pretty good on my hand there. I always feel like when I have like the blush, like that looks like Neapolitan ice cream. And now I just want to eat ice cream. I guess you can kind of see some white. The camera's picking up white more than I see in person. I think it's just the light reflecting on that highlight. It definitely is just more pink. You really don't get that white in person. Maybe if I was outside, you would see a bit more of the whiteness, but it's definitely more like, even maybe a bit of yellow, but mostly pink. Okay, next up is the eye drawer. So again, I'm not going to make this complicated. I'm just going to pick out stuff that's on top. Wow, this actually has no label on it anymore. This is the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. I don't know if it has an actual name, but it's just the Clear Brow Gel. I don't like that the wand on this is like ginormous. Like, why is that wand so big? Like, have you seen my eyebrows? Or not seen them because they're like non-existent? Yeah, I really wish it was a smaller brush. I wonder, I should look online and see if it's still like that, because this is pretty old. You would think that they would change that up, because it just seems at odds with every other brow product out there. Let's go with this one because it's waterproof. I still feel like I definitely need some waterproof stuff. The camera will focus on this. It's the Essence waterproof eyeliner pen. I took this to Florida with me. It's okay. I don't like wearing it on its own. I like to like double up with like regular liner. I feel like it's not too bad. There it is on my hand right there. But it doesn't, like, it looks okay on camera there, but it's not super black. It's definitely not black like some other liners that I have or have used in the past. And this guy's on top. Let's use this one. Another one of my Gosh liners. This is in the shade Woody Green. These eyeliners are pretty old. I bought them near the beginning of my channel. They were all on sale. Gosh used to be at, I want to say it was at Shoppers Drug Mart. It was Rexall. And it was when the brand was leaving the store. They had this huge discount. They were all like, I don't know, $6 or something. So I bought a bunch of shades. I quite enjoy them. They're nice. I think it's still sold. I think it's a German company. And then mascara. I'm just going to pull this guy because it's right on top. The Maybelline Falsies Lash Lift. Didn't really care for this a whole lot. I talked about this in my last mascara showdown type thing. But yeah, we're going to play with this guy. See how it goes. And that side, I need to like use this. Let's pull this down because I say I keep meaning to use this. So let's pull this out right now too. I am just not a lash primer person. This is the Essence Volume Booster Lash Primer. This is the first lash primer I've tried in a really long time, and I know some people love this. They love it. I'd rather just put 3 coats of mascara on. Like, I don't get it. And I feel like when I use a lash primer, you can see the white. I feel like the white always shows up. It like takes away from like the dark black of the mascara. I know there's other lash primers out there that are like black, and I think there's one that's purple. I can't remember what brand that is. Maybe Clinique, but yeah, I'd just rather just keep building up that mascara. Put another layer of mascara on, and that's how I work. Or like combine mascaras. Like some mascaras work as like a priming mascara to me, and then I add, like a lot of times I put mascara on, but then I finish with like a one coat of waterproof to sort of seal the mascara. So anyway, long story short, we're gonna play with this. I probably should get rid of it, I think, after this, but we'll see. And here's sort of like the base drawer. Give me that base. So foundations. I think I'm gonna use this guy. I don't use this guy on his own very often because it's very pink. This is, I don't know if the camera's focusing at all. My eyeballs are not focusing, so it's really hard to tell if the camera's focusing. This is Makeup Forever Ultra HD. I don't know if they still sell the minis, but I love that this was in a mini, except for I bought this in a mini and this color is no longer available. I think it's R240. Yes, there it is on the bottom. R240, it's very pink. I mean, you can kind of just see that on the camera. I don't even need to swatch this. You can see how pink that is, which I have very pink undertones. I like to mix this with other foundations. So I might keep out the foundation that I was playing with, or I might just mix this with my Project Pan foundation, because I feel like it is a little too pink on its own. But yeah, that's why this one, like, I could finish this one. There's not a whole lot left. I think it's maybe half full, but I like to keep it around as a mixing foundation. So it's not one that I'm eagerly rushing to finish, but I don't know, I'm kind of looking at it now and I'm thinking it's maybe separating a little. So maybe I should be eagerly finishing this up. We'll see. Anyway, there's that. Maybe I'll do a swatch on my hand anyway so you can see it. So there's a swatch of it on the top of my hand there. You can see that's pretty pink, but you can also see it goes well with my skin tone. Concealer goes on top, so we're going with this one. The Multitasker Concealer from Rimmel. This one has the big, giant doe foot on it. And there's a swatch of that beside it. So you can see definitely the tone difference there. The shade of that concealer was... I have no idea. Oh, 040 Ivory. Primer. Basically I have two primers because this really isn't a primer. But whatever. We're going to go with this guy. The Porefessional. Benefit the Porefessional. I finally caved and bought a full size of this because I just kept buying minis. And it is, at least for me, it was definitely a favorite primer. I'm not sure if it is a favorite primer anymore. I think just the way I like primers, I use them differently. And I think I've just sort of like accepted the pores in my face. Like, I'm fine with them. They're there. They're definitely not as bad as they used to be. I used to have really oily skin. So I felt like my pores were definitely much more extreme because of the oily skin. Whereas I feel like my skin is sort of like leveled out a little bit. There's pores there, but I don't know. Other things bother me more, like my under eye wrinkles. So my concerns have transferred to that. So this is maybe not a top favorite or even just like a top concern for me anymore, but I'm pretty sure I like this primer. Like I said, I haven't used it in a while though, so I want to play with it and see how this goes. See if I like it as much as I remembered. And then powder, because this guy's in front, we're just going to go with this. Like I said, I don't want to think too hard. This was the powder that I had in my Project Pan from last year. I repressed it. So that's what that guy looks like. And there's only one more thing to select. I'm going to select a single eyeshadow. I'm just not even bothering moving the camera. I pulled the drawer out to show the drawer, and I'm just going to pull this guy right here. This is a single shadow from Annabelle. It is in the shade, well, it says OV Taupe. I think it's called Over the Taupe. It's supposed to be a metallic shadow. It's really not super impactful or super metallic compared to metallics that we see today. I would say this is more of like a satiny, like it's an in-between satin and in-between metallic. Actually, I wonder how similar that is in tone to the eyeshadow stick I just used. Let me check. So that is the Laura Mercier words eyeshadow stick and strapless, and that's the Over the Taupe. So it's almost like the cooler, like not cool, but cool toned sister. But they're definitely very similar. Like I knew they were kind of very similar, but Interesting. Anyway, that is the eyeshadow I picked. So that is everything I've picked. We'll do a quick recap, and that will be the end of this video. Alright, and here we are with this week's picks. Seems a little bit like a lot. That was a contradicting statement. I feel like this looks like a lot compared to last week. I don't know, I felt like maybe the products last week were like more condensed, and these products are just bigger, I guess. I guess I have like an extra thing here with the primer as the lash primer as well. And I am still using this palette right now, the Profusion Pro Pigment palette. I'll just open it up because it's very reflective. So, still very reflective. That's what that guy looks like. I am kind of done with this mentally, truth be told. But I just haven't bothered picking a new palette yet. So, by the next update, you'll see I maybe will pick a new palette for this week. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still sick. And I am wearing makeup, but just not as much, so it might not be even worth it to pick a new palette. I don't really know. The thing I do want to say about this palette is, I said last week about this one being a declutter potential. I don't think I'm going to declutter this, but I think at the end of this calendar year, I am going to depot this, because I would say there's a lot of shades in here that I like, but there's a handful that I just don't care for. And I do feel like there's a lot of redundancy with some of these shades that I could just maybe get rid of a few. I do really like these white shades. So the one thing to mention about these white shades is they're not all white. They're different. I can't remember if I showed that last time. You can see they're like the white with the different tones. So I definitely want to keep those because that's unique to me. I actually don't have any other palettes with those kinds of shades. And I do like I think it's like this shade. I like a couple of shades in here. I know Crackle is a shade I really like. But like these are kind of redundant. I don't really care for these shades. I don't use them. This shade's kind of fun. I never use that shade. Don't really care for this shade. So like, you know, there's a lot in here that I don't need to keep. And I feel like I would get more use out of these shades if I just combine them with other palettes. This is such a big palette to pull out that I don't do that. You know what I mean? I'd rather have these in like a small palette like my Pan That palette that I can just like play with next to another palette. I don't know. I'm more of a small palette person. I really don't like these giant palettes. They're just not me. Anyway, and I can get pretty decent looks out of this. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't super excited about this, but I always find, and I've said this, I think every time I pull this palette out, I make a look and I'm like, oh, that's pretty. Like it's not, the name of the palette is so dumb because it's called Pro Pigment because it's not pigmented. They're just kind of like interesting shades and they just look pretty. They make really pretty looks, especially with when you add like these sort of taupery shades to it. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble like I usually do. So we will end this video here. If you like this video, feel free to give it a little thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing better than I am. And I'll see you next time. Bye.